Hey y'all, welcome back to VW Family Farm. My name's Andrea, and I am back today with a question we get asked a lot in the comments, and that is, why do you raise the pigs you raise? And we have mentioned before, we raise GOS, Old Spots, also called Gloucestershire. And we've mentioned before, the reason we raise those is the meat. But I know you're probably thinking, what does that mean? What's so good about the meat that you raise them for the meat? Well, I'm gonna tell you. So I hope you guys can see me. Dusk is upon us here on the farm. And in our last couple of videos, we have showed you we have 5 Old Spot breeding sows now. And 3 of those had delivered litters. They're all having their babies at the same time. And since our last video, the 4th one has had her babies. I wanna show you how that went. So she is doing fantastic. She actually had 15. She has still got 14 alive, which is really, really great. She's a great mom. She's doing really well. So thrilled. I think that's a new record for the size of the litter here on our farm, and to have, it's been a couple days now, to successfully have 14 alive and thriving. She's just doing great. We have 3 more mamas that have already delivered. Their babies are doing great too. One of them is out here in the barn beside this one. I'll see one of them is out in the pasture back behind the camera here. She's starting to get up and move around. I have checked on them. I don't check on them every day. They're out in the pasture, but we'll see. It's really muddy, but I'll see if I can get out there and give you guys a glimpse of those as well. I'll try to sneak y'all over there, but this mama, she's a bit more testy. Makes for a good mom, but not necessarily a good video, so I'll take a good mom any day. I'll see if I can sneak over there. You can see on the back of the shelter, there's a little window. Mike can go there and give you a glimpse through there. There's 6 of those you guys can see. There's another litter that was the first one to be born. There's 6 of them. They're bigger than that. They're running around this pasture everywhere. Gonna have to figure something out soon on a way to contain them because they're just wreaking havoc. They get into things, stroke trash. They venture a little too close to the road for my comfort. So gonna have to figure something else out there, but that's 2 more litters out in the pasture. And then I'll show you this next to youngest one that's also in the barn here. So if you're counting, that's 33 piglets so far. Some of those litters are a bit small, and we hope to get that up in the future. They had some that they lost. It was just a variety of reasons, but we hope to have even more than that in the future. And we're waiting on 1 mama. You can see her back here. 1 left of farrow, and then we'll have all 5 of them have farrowed. We had 6. 1, it just didn't go well. She has since gone to the butcher and been turned into sausage, and that's just the way of it here on the farm. You have to make hard decisions sometimes, and so that's where we are. And you might be thinking, well, why do you want so many breeding sows of Old Spots? Well, the truth is that's our favorite meat, along with we have recently started to fall in love with the Berkshire breed, and we actually have a boar we have acquired and 2 Berkshire sows, and so we're going to give that a try as well, and possibly going to cross them in with some of the Old Spots. We like some of the qualities from both, but those are basically where it stops. Those are our favorites, and just out of everything we've raised and tried and seen and tried their meat, there's a reason. And I want to take you in and show you the meat, because that's what it comes down to. You can love the way a pig looks, you can love the spots, you can love all the aesthetic qualities of it, but if you don't love the meat and you're raising meat, it really comes down to, that's kind of a deal breaker. So let's head on into the shop. So just to give you a little background if you're new around here, because if someone's telling you they like something, really that only holds weight if they've tried other things. If that's the only thing they've ever tried, of course they may like it. So I just want to give you a little background here on us and on our farm. We have worked hard to get to this point, to have 5 breeding sows, all GOS or old spots. We've raised a variety of pigs throughout the time, just whatever we could find and get, building up to this point. So we have raised a variety of crosses because we have a show pig farm not far from us, and a lot of times show pigs are a cross of several different breeds. So we have raised Berkshires, we have raised Polands, we've raised Chester Whites, we've raised, the list goes on and on, red wattles, large blacks. In fact, we have breeding pairs of large blacks at one time. We thought we were going to switch to that or cross that in with the old spots, and that didn't go so well. So we have tried a large variety of pigs, and that's not even all. And it all comes back to, we like the old spots. One reason, I'm going to take you in here and show you the meat. Obviously, I've already mentioned that. But there are other factors, and one of those is their temperament. You saw me right up next to them. Even that mama, I said she didn't like me. All she did was like bark at me. They've never done anything. Even the boars, they've never hurt us or even attempted to hurt us. And that just can't be said for all varieties of pigs. You'll have to never mind my messy garage behind me. I had to find somewhere to get some good lighting. But to show you what we love as far as the meat goes with the old spots, I have to show you first what we don't love. So for a while we raised Mangalitsa's, and they're known as a lard pig, and people will tell you, and it's true, that they have really good fat content in their meat. A lot of pork does not have marbling in the meat like beef does. Mangalitsa is one that does. But to me, this is too much. I want to show you, this is a pork picnic roast from a Mangalitsa pig. So a picnic roast is a large chunk of meat from the front shoulder of the hog, and it's traditionally pretty meaty. It can be tougher than, like, say, the Boston butt, but it is a large chunk of meat. And you can see this one right here is predominantly fat. Look at all of this fat around it. And if I show you the backside, you can see more meat back here, but you can just see large amounts of fat. And they are known as a lard pig, like I told you, but to me, this is just too much. These are bone-in pork chops from the Mangalitsa. Again, you can see so much fat. Now, fat is not a bad thing. Fat and lard have been villainized over the years. That's not a bad thing, so hear me out. But you can see the fat as opposed to the meat. There's not as much meat or muscle on here as there is fat. So some of this is going to cook away. Some of this is not, fat is not providing the protein like the meat part or the muscle part is. That's just borderline too much for me. So I told you Mangalitsa's are known for having marbling in the meat, and a lot of pork does not have that. Well, so are old spots. They're another one that is known for that. And so now I want to show you kind of what we do like. So now take a look at these pork chops. You can see there's still fat here. There's still marbling throughout the meat, but there's a lot more meat on here than just fat. It's kind of like the best of both worlds, if you ask me. I brought another one for an example. Again, you can see a nice layer of fat out here, but a lot of meat as well. So if you're on a high protein diet, you want the protein that the meat provides. So that marbling and that layer of fat you saw in those old spot pork chops are one of the things they're known for. Now, we've had some in the past that there'll be a bit more fat than that, and that's okay, but it's never been to a extreme where it was mainly fat. So proponents of the GOS or old spot know that that layer of fat that they have, because they're known for a layer of fat as well. So don't get me wrong, they're not a lean pig like you would see, like maybe from the grocery store, where your pork winds up being tough as shoe leather and there's no fat on it. GOS definitely are known for their fat as well. They just don't generally have an excessive amount, but they do have a distinct layer of back fat, which allows them to be perfectly suited for being raised on pasture. You will see a lot of them being raised on homesteads, out on pasture, on grass, because that helps protect them and help them be suited to being outside. Some of these pigs that are raised in commercial operations have been so crossed and just modified basically that they would not do well. They would not thrive outside. They're made for indoors. They're made for confinement. They've had things bred out of them and bred into them to make that, you know, go well and go better and be more profitable and things like that for big commercial operations. GOS are perfectly suited, and in fact they thrive out on pasture. So that fat is an important part of that, as well as that layer of fat also means that when you're cooking their meat, it's basically being basted and roasted in its own fat, which leads to tenderness and succulent meat when you're done. It's very flavorful. It has a distinct flavor that most people, when they have raised them or have eaten them, they can tell. It's just delicious. So I also mentioned Berkshires while we were out at the barn, and mentioned that we were going to try to raise some of them and cross them in. The reason is because they pair very well with Old Spots. They have a lot of similarities, and we have customers that want that, and we're just interested to do that for ourselves as well. They share some really good qualities as far as their richness, their juiciness, their tenderness, their marbling, and all of those things. In fact, Berkshires are known to be the Kobe beef in the pork world. And if you know what Kobe beef or Wagyu beef are, those are like basically the best of beef, and Berkshire is thought to be the same way in the pork world. So it's just another really good quality pork we're wanting here on our farm and in our meat operation. They also have a really good temperament. They're also a heritage breed pig. They're just a really easy keeper, and that's what we like here on our farm. So this video is in no way to bash the Mangalitsa. That's just some meat I had on hand of different ones we've tried in the past that we decided wasn't for us. And not everything is going to be for us, and not everything is going to be for you, and that's okay. Let me just also say, there's a lot of good pigs out there. There's a lot of good pig breeds out there. We've raised a lot of them. And you see on our videos, even now, we have a lot of pigs that are crossbred pigs from other people's farms. They're thriving out on pasture along with ours, but we have had them on there for a long time. And usually when they first arrive at our farm, they do struggle for a bit. So just be prepared for that. But you're not gonna like what necessarily everyone else likes. So you need to find what will work for your farm. Part of it does come down to what they look like. If you have a choice, sometimes you do go with what you think looks the best for one reason or another. Part of it also comes down to what's available in your area. And sometimes you just got to jump in and start, and you'll figure out what you like and don't like along the way. This is in no way to convince you to raise Old Spots. It's just answering a question of why do we? And there is absolutely no judgment from us for other people raising different types of pigs, because everyone has to do what's best for them and their situation. And you know what? Wouldn't it be so boring if we all did exactly the same thing? So my advice is you do you, find out what works best, and go at it confidently. And also be humble. If you have to back up and say, that didn't work, we don't like that, or we need to change directions, be humble, be available to do that, and I promise you will be more successful for it. If I forgot to cover something, you still have more questions, just leave us a comment down below, and we will be seeing you on the next video. Thanks for watching, and God bless.